Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Right, today I will continue with the other basic methods of foreign risk management, which is money market hedging. So previously we did on currency invoice, leading and lagging, netting and matching, and then forward exchange contract. So this one already explained to you on the previous slide. Okay. Right. Now I want to explain to you about money market hedging. The technique or the strategy or method can be used by the company, okay, to minimize the currency risk. Okay. Right. Straight away we go to the slides that is relevant to the MMH, which is money market hedging, right? Right. So not this one. Right, hold on. Okay, this one. Okay, so we need to know what is the basic principle, okay, of the money market hedge, right? So money market hedge is actually is a strategy where involving borrowing in one currency, which is the company will borrow in one currency, right? And then convert the borrowed money into another currency. Why is that? Because this money will be placed on the deposit, right, until the maturity period. Okay, ataupun until the time the transaction is completed. Okay, what are the transaction? The transactions of receiving or the transactions of making payment. Okay, right. So this money market hedging can be applied to the foreign payment and also to the foreign receipt. Okay. Okay. Right. We go to this one. So this is already mentioned. Okay, the money market hedge principle is where involving the company to borrow in one currency, borrow the cash in one currency, and then converting the cash, right, the cash borrowed into another currency, and then put the money on deposit until the time the transactions is completed. Okay, in order to take advantage of the favorable interest rate movement. Okay, right. Setting up the money market hedge can be for the foreign currency payment and also can be made for the foreign currency receipt. Okay, right. So now this is a simple example, right? Let's say we look at the strategy of money market hedging for the foreign currency payment, right? When we have to make the payment for our import, okay, to the foreign supplier in foreign currency. So let's say now, in general, right, in this example, suppose the British company has to pay a Swiss creditor in Swiss franc, in 3 months' time. So in 3 months, right, it doesn't have enough cash to pay now, right? But it will have sufficient in 3 months' time, for example. All right. So instead of using the forward contract, so the company could use set up a money market hedge strategy. Okay. First, the British company is making the payment, going to make a payment in Swiss franc, right? Okay, so first, this British company or UK company will borrow the appropriate amount in pounds, and the amount borrowed must be equal to the present value of the payable. okay, the amounts payable. Okay, and then you convert the pounds to franc immediately. So once you know how much pounds, right, to be borrowed, then you will immediately convert the pound into the foreign currency, which is in this case franc currency. Okay, Swiss franc currency. Okay, and then you will put this after you convert the pound into franc, then you will put this foreign currency cash here on the deposit account, okay, until the maturity period. So the maturity period is the date of payment, okay, or payment date. So you keep the money for 3 months, in order to earn the interest on the deposit amount, the principal amounts of deposit. And then after 3 months, right, once the maturity period reach at the maturity date, okay, which is in the third month, right, then the amounts of the deposit, okay, will increase, okay, and then will be used to pay the creditor, okay, creditor in franc. So the deposit amounts in franc will be used to pay the creditor or supplier, and then the payment of the loan, the in domestic currency, which is pound sterling, uh, must be paid as scheduled. All right. So this is a simple example to set up the money market hedge for the foreign currency payment. But what happens if you have a comprehensive situation, example, right, using or adopting the money market hedge for the foreign currency payment. Okay, right, if you look at this, okay, let us read the example here. So the UK company is owing a Danish creditor, okay, and the UK company has to pay 3.5 million kroners in 3 months' time, right? And then at that time, that means today, the spot exchange rate, right, is 7.5509 to the rate of 7.5548 per pound. So this is the range of kroner currency to the pound sterling, okay, against the pound sterling. So the company, given that, right, the domestic interest rate, so in this case, the domestic is actually referring to UK company, okay, and the foreign currency or the foreign interest rate, okay, is referring to the Danish creditors, okay, or is referring to the foreign country. Right, the company can borrow in sterling for 3 months at 8.6% per annum. So, right, so that means this is the domestic interest rate in UK, right? And then at the same time, the interest rate in what is it in Denmark, okay, is 10% per annum. So this is the foreign interest rate per annum, 10%. Okay, what is the cost in pounds with the money market hedge, and what is the effective forward rate or exchange rate would this represent? Okay, right. So let me show you. So from the example, right, it is stated that, right, UK company, okay, UK company is paying creditors, okay, Danish creditors, right, for 3.5 million kroners, okay, in 3 months times. Okay, right, and it's given that here the spot exchange rate, okay, of krona against pound is between 7.509 to 7.5548 per pound. So this is the today's exchange rate, right? And it is given that if you are in the UK, right? So the interest rate, so this one I can call it as a domestic interest rate, which is referring to UK lah, UK, right? Equals to 8.6% per annum, right? And for the foreign interest rate, right? For the foreign countries, which is Denmark here, equals to 10% per annum. Okay, so this is for per annum, right? Now our concern here, the payment is going to be made in 3 months, right? So that means we can straight away change this interest rate for next 3 months only. So you convert this 8.6%, we divide by 12 months and we multiply by 3 months. Then we can straight away get the interest rate for 3 months, which is all right. And then for the foreign interest rate as well, which is 10%, divide by 12 and multiply by 3 months. That means you can apply the interest rate for foreign country of 2.5% for 3 months. This is for 3 months. Okay, right. The next one is now, all right, how the UK company protect itself against the currency risk, right? We never know what's going to happen. Okay, so normally the home countries, right, will apply this MMH, okay, for the foreign currency when the company predicts that the foreign currency is going to appreciate. So, right, they predict the company, the foreign currency is going to appreciate. So now they want to in futures, that means in the next 3 months, let's say, okay, in the next 3 months, it is predicted that the foreign currency is going to appreciate. So how to protect against it? Because if the foreign currency is appreciated in 3 months, right, that means when they made the payment, right, the UK company has to pay to pay more pound for kronas, right, if the kronas is appreciating, right? So that's why they want to protect itself against this currency risk. So how it can be done, right? So firstly, right, so in the principle of the MMH just now, right, which is the principle of the money market hedge, right? First, in the payment case, right, payment is going to be made in foreign currency, right? So that means in this case, right, the UK company, right, borrow in pounds. Okay, the UK company will borrow money in pound, and the borrowing amount, right, and the borrowing amount, okay, you must take note, the borrowing amount, right, must equal to the present value of the amounts payable. Okay. Okay. So what is the amounts payable? 3.5 million. So that means we need to borrow the present value of this 3.5 million kroners. Okay. How to find the present value here? Right. So this is equal to, okay, 3.5 million kroners divided by, okay, 1 plus, so this is in the foreign currency, right? So the interest rate or the discount rate that we are going to use is the interest rate in the foreign country, which is 10% per annum, but we want to use the interest rate for 3 months. Huh? That means we are going to use the 2.5%. So that means you will 1 plus 0.025. Okay, that's it. Then equals to kroners 3414, okay, and 634. Okay, so this is the amount of present value, right? The present value amounts of the payable amount, okay? And then this amount, right? So this amount, should be converted, right? You should convert this amount, okay? Convert into pound. Then we know, then we can only, right? Actually, we can only know how much the UK company should borrow in pound by converting this amount into pound. Okay, that means you are buying the kroners in this case. If you buy the kroner, that means the bank will sell the kroner. Okay, so this amount should be converted into pound, right? Since the bank will buy, or sorry, will sell, right? UK company will buy the kroners. That means bank will sell the kroner at low rate. Okay, we know the principle or the principle of bid and offer rate, right? Last time, where the bank will buy at a high and sell at low. So in this case, right, the bank will sell kroner to the UK company. Okay, right, how is it? That means the kroner 3414, okay, 634 will divide by kroner. What is the low rate? Okay, that is 7.5509. Okay, right. So this 5509 is the exchange rate that we use to convert this kroner amount, and then therefore we will get in pound equals to 452 and 216 pounds. So this is actually the amount that the company, UK company, should borrow. Okay, so we know that this amount in the second step, apa dia kena buat dengan amounts yang dia borrow tadi sebenarnya, dia pergi dekat bank, dia borrow the 452 pound, right, 260 pound tadi, 452, 216 pound, right. They go to the bank and borrow this amount. Right, this amount is actually equivalent to this amount, right? It is equivalent to this amount. So that amount actually must be deposited, must be placed on deposit, but in foreign currency. So the next step, right, you borrow in one currency and then you will deposit your borrowed cash tadi, which is in pound, in another currency. So what currency you want to use in order to put the money on deposit? That is definitely the kroner. So that means, right, step number 2, right, the UK company will deposit in kroner. Okay, what amount to be put on or placed on deposit account? So definitely the amount is, right, the amount is kroner. You want to put the money today, right? So 3414 634 kroner. Okay, so this is the amount to be placed on deposit. Okay, on deposit account. For how long? For 3 months. That means from today, right? From now or from today until, right, the maturity date lah. Maturity date. So when is the maturity date? In 3 months time. So that means for 3 months. Okay, maturity date is the payment date lah. Right? So why you place this amount for 3 months? Because the company wants to earn the interest. Okay, the interest on the principal amount. So what is the principal amount? The principal amount is 3,414,634 kroners just now. Right, so then you will keep this and wait until 3 months. Right, and then let's say at the maturity date now, after 3 months, okay, at the maturity date, that is after 3 months, okay, so now what happened to the amounts in your deposit account? That is on the payment date lah, right? After 3 months, what is a maturity date? This is where you make the payment, right? All right, to your supplier. So that means at the maturity date, the UK company, okay, UK company earns interest, okay, earn interest and principal plus principal, okay, okay, principal, okay, the principal amount, right, at the end of the deposit period, which is 3 months. Okay, so therefore, we need to calculate the amount of deposit after 3 months lah. So therefore, the amounts of deposit, okay, at maturity date, which is after 3 months time, okay, equals to what? So how much you put on the deposit just now? You start with this amount, right? So this is the amount that you put in the deposit account, right? Which is 3,414,634 kroner, and then you will multiply by what amount of the interest. So look at the information here, right? So the information here is this one, foreign interest rate. You put in the foreign account, right? In a foreign currency. So that means the interest rate that you have earned for 3 months is 2.5%. So straight away plus principal, right? So teruslah plus dengan 1. So it becomes 1.025. So therefore, the amount of your deposit now in your account, okay, in kroners equals to 3.5 million kroners. Okay, so this amount is actually what? Equals to the amount that you are going to pay to your creditors. So that means this will be the amounts in your deposit account here. This amount, right, will be used, right, will be used on okay. what will be used for payment, will be used to pay the supplier. All right. So, what about the loan? This is the amount that you have borrowed, right, in pound. So this is in the first month. Okay, that means right, amounts, right, of loan, right, which is in pound just now. Okay, after 3 months become how much? So that means equals to the principal amount that you borrow, okay, in pound, multiply by the interest rate in UK lah, because it is in pound. So that means you are going to use the domestic interest rate that already converted into interest rate for 3 months, which is 2.15. If you multiply by 0.0215, that is the interest amount only. But we want to know what is the whole amounts of our debts to the bank, which is times by 1.0215. So therefore, your loans now after 3 months, it becomes how much? 461 and 938 pounds. So after 3 months, the amounts of loan is 461,938, and after 3 months, the amount of your deposit account becomes 3.5 million. So this is the amount that can be used to pay the supplier. This is the amounts of loan that you have to serve, okay, as scheduled. Okay, now the next part that you have to ask is, or to answer here, okay, the next question is, right, let me, okay, show you. The next question is then, if after you under taking or executing this strategy, then we can determine the effective exchange rate, okay, or the effective forward rate. Okay, so how to read of what? Of kroner against pound. Okay, so what is it? Okay, how are we going to determine this? Right, so this is right by taking the amounts of deposit after 3 months, right? That is the amounts of payment, right? That you make to your supplier using the deposit amount available in deposit account, which is kroner 35, right, million, right, and you divide by pound, the loan amount after 3 months, okay, which is 461, 938. Therefore, you will get the effective exchange rate of, okay, kroner 7.5768 against a pound. So this is the effective exchange rate. Okay, right. So this is for the, right. So this one is actually for the money market hedging for foreign payment, right? Foreign currency payment. Okay, right. Next, we go to another example, which is for the MMH application, right? For the foreign currency receipts. Okay, right. So the principle is just the same. Borrow in one currency, and then you convert that borrowed amount, okay, into another currency. And after converting that amount into other currency, then you will immediately put this amount to the deposit account okay, on the deposit account, and then you will keep, right, and maintain this account until the maturity date, right? Let's say if the maturity date is 3 months time, that means you will keep the account until your deposit amount in the account until 3 months. If it's 6 months, then you will until 6 months, because you want to earn the profit, right, which is interest, right? You want to earn the interest, right? So that therefore you can make use of you get the benefits from that deposit. Okay, now we want to go to the applications of the MMH, right, for the foreign, right, currency receipt. So this is when you make the export, and then you predict that, when you make the export, maybe you now you want to protect your company against foreign currency depreciation. That means if you get money in foreign currency, and then your currency, your home currency is appreciating, but foreign currency is depreciating, then if you, after converting that, the amount received in the foreign currency into your home currency, then you will get less amount, less receipts in your home currency. So now you want to protect your company against that risk. So you can protect against your company against this currency risk when you are doing your export by applying the MMH. Okay, when you are making payment, also you can also use the MMH as well. Okay, but then how are we going to perform, or how are we going to undertake or execute that strategy for the foreign currency receipt? Okay, now let's have a look, okay, for the foreign receipt. Okay, if you have the questions, right, I think you can refer to that questions, right? I just try to summarize, summarize the information. Okay, let's say here the UK company, okay, will receive, okay, receive from the debtors, which is in Swiss franc, okay, in foreign currency, which is Swiss franc, 2.5 million Swiss franc. Okay, and when is it? In 3 months time. Okay, in 3 months. Okay, and then you predict that the foreign currency, okay, foreign currency is going to depreciate. Okay, right. And then what else? Okay, the information given here, today's exchange rate, okay, the spot, right, exchange rate, okay, for Swiss franc against pound is given as between what? Swiss franc 2.2498 to 2.2510, sorry, per pound. Okay, right, and then what else? It is given that interest rate in the UK, right? So I can call it domestic. So let's say our base country or currency is UK lah in this case. So domestic interest rate or home. Okay. Right. Okay. Domestic interest rate. Okay. Interest rate in UK lah, in other words, 8% per annum. Right. And foreign interest rate, that is in Swiss, right? Foreign interest rate is 7% per annum. So we, right? Convert this interest rate for 3 months. Siap? Okay, so that easier for us later on to make use of this interest rate for 3 months. Kalau itu 6 months, then you have to convert to interest rate for 6 months. Easier for us later on when we want to calculate the present value. Okay, that means 8% you divide by 12 and you multiply by 3 months. Okay, then you akan dapat 2% interest rate for 3 months. Okay, kalau nak cari per month, then don't forget to multiply by 3. Okay, here, foreign, divide by 12 again, multiply by 3 months again. Okay, and then you will get 1.75% for 3 months as well. Okay, right now, this is the MMH for the foreign currency receipt, right? Where you predict that the foreign currency is going to depreciate and you want to protect your company against the currency risk here. Okay, so what should be done first by the company? So we know that the first step, right, the UK company should borrow, right? Right, this time you need to borrow in, what is it? In foreign currency. Okay, right, in foreign currency, which is in Swiss franc. Okay, right, what you should do here, okay, you have to determine the borrowing amount. That means you need to know how much you need to borrow in Swiss franc. Okay, so how are you going to determine the amount, right? The borrowing amount here, right, can be determined, or actually it is equal to the present value of the amounts receivable, right? Amounts receivable. So what is the amount receivable? It is the Swiss franc 2.5 million, but this is the future value. Now we want to discount it. That means we want to determine the present value of this 2.5 million, right? Then you divide by 1. This is a discounted cash flow model sebenarnya, if you notice lah. And you plus ataupun terus what? 1 point. So this, since this is in franc amount, that means the interest rate that is relevant to this is what? Definitely 1.75% here, right? So you take this, then 1 plus 1.75%, that is 1.0175. So therefore, the borrowing amount equals to Swiss franc how much? 2,457,000 and 2. Right, so this is the amount that the UK company should borrow in foreign currency. Right? Okay, and the next step, what's the next step that the UK company should do? In the second step, right, the company should make use of this borrowed money, that is Swiss franc 2.457002, right? Place this amount on the deposit. So you deposit the borrowed money. Okay, deposit the borrowed money. So the borrowed money is in Swiss franc. Okay, and then the deposit must be in pound. Okay, right. So that is what we meant by borrow in one currency and convert the currency, the borrowed money into another currency. Now we want to convert this borrowed money into the pound sterling. How is it? Look at the spot rate. But here we have again the range of the spot rate. That means we have here, this is what? Low rate. This is high rate. So therefore you need to determine, right, which rate that the bank will use. Right? So what is it? You borrow in Swiss franc. Now you want to convert the Swiss franc into pound. That means, are you selling the Swiss franc or are you buying the Swiss franc? Okay, that means what? You borrow in Swiss franc, right? So that means the UK company sell Swiss franc to the bank. Okay, you bawa duit tu ke bank and then you want to convert into pounds, right? And then the bank will buy the Swiss franc. And then we know that the rules of thumb is what? Bank will buy at high rate. So if it's high rate, that means they can buy at which exchange rate? That is 2.2510. So therefore, right, the amount should be put on deposit is what? Okay, the amount to be placed on deposit is how much? Okay, so this Swiss franc 24157,002 you divide by what? Swiss franc exchange rate, which is the high rate, right? What the rate that the bank will use to buy, which is 2.2510. Okay, so the amount should be deposited is what? How much? Equals to 1,091,516 pounds. So this is the amount that should be placed on the deposit amount account. Okay, right? Wow. So what is this? Hold on. Okay, I need some space here. Okay, right. And then this amount, okay, okay, will be in the deposit account for 3 months lah. Okay, for 3 months. That means from now or today, you keep the money in the deposit amount, you put the money in the deposit account, right? From now until what? Until maturity period. Alright, maturity date. So when is the maturity date? Maturity date means what? The date of receipt. Okay, why is that? Because you want to earn the interest, right, plus the principal, okay, at the maturity period or date. Okay, now after the maturity date reached, that is next part or next stage. So at the maturity date, what happened? Okay, at the maturity date or the dates of receipt, okay, what happened? Right. So at the maturity date, what happened then? The UK company apa? Earned interest, right? Earn interest and principal. Okay, and principal on the deposit amount. On the deposit amount. Okay, That means after 3 months, the amounts of, sebab tadi you keep the money in the deposit account this much. Okay, jadi sekarang apa yang berlaku after 3 months? So lepas 3 months, that means therefore, right, amount of deposit, okay, that is after 3 months, it becomes how much now? So that is 1091,516 multiply which one of the interest rate? So this is the domestic currency deposit, which is therefore we need to use what? 8%, right, per annum. But then that is for per annum. Yeah, the deposit account here is for 3 months. So therefore we straight away use this one, the one that we have calculated earlier. So that means times 1.002. Am I right? To determine or to know how much the amounts of deposit in total, that is interest plus principal. So the amounts become 1,113, okay, and 346 pound. So this is the amount of cash, right, or deposit available in your deposit account. Okay, so what's next? So that means at maturity date, this is the amounts of deposit. But what about the borrowing amount here? After 3 months, what happened to the borrowing? The borrowing amount becomes apa? The borrowing is in the Swiss franc, okay? So that means borrowing amounts after 3 months, your borrowing amounts after 3 months equals to, so Swiss franc, the amounts you borrow is 2,457,002. You multiply by the interest rate of foreign currency lah. Foreign interest rate is 1.75% for 3 months. So 1 plus 1.75%, which is 1.0175. Therefore, the borrowing amounts is, your loan now becomes how much? After 3 months, it becomes 2, okay, 0.5 million. Okay, so this is the loan amount.